Where do they go when it rains? That's Steph, that's Marion, and that's Luke. And over there is where Grandma lives. And over here is where Luke and Marion live. It was a warm, sunny morning when Steph picked up the twins from their apartment in town. They walked across the fields to the little house where Steph lived with their grandma. "There aren't enough water plants in my fish tank," said Steph. "I'm going to look for some more at the pond. Who wants to come with me?" Me, shouted Luke and Marion. Steph picked up 2 jam jars and put them in his rucksack. Grandma added 3 apples. "I'm carrying the net," said Luke. As they left the house, Marion saw a grasshopper and tried to catch it, but hop, it escaped with a big jump. On the way to the pond, they went past a farm. All the animals knew Steph. The goose was curious and came to say hello. The sheep lay asleep in the shade. They didn't like the heat. The farmer brought out some lettuce leaves to feed the chickens. "Here you are," she said. "Give these carrots to the donkey. They're her favorite." 2 sparrows were having a dust bath in the hot sand. They flapped their wings and the sand went everywhere. They looked so funny the children laughed. It was a very hot day and the animals were thirsty. Marion wanted to feed the pony, but she was scared he might bite her. Steph showed her how to do it. He put a big tuft of grass on the palm of his hand and held it up to the pony's mouth. Gently the pony ate the grass. "See, he didn't bite my fingers," said Steph. That morning, all the flowers had opened to catch the sun. The bees came to drink their nectar and collect their pollen. They buzzed around the flowers all day long. At last, Steph and the children reached the pond. Clouds of midges swarmed by the water's edge. The swallows gulped them down mid-flight. "The pond isn't very deep," Steph told the twins. "If you walk slowly and try not to splash, we'll find lots of interesting things." Marion's hands were dirty from playing, but Steph found a soap plant. When Marion rubbed its leaves between her hands, they made a soapy lather, just like magic. The 2 boys collected some water plants. "Look what I've caught," shouted Steph. "What's that funny little thing?" asked Luke. "It's a special type of snail," said Steph. "It will eat all the algae that grows on the sides of my fish tank." "Your fish tank is a bit dirty," said Marion. They were having such a great time, no one saw the big black clouds coming. No one, apart from the swallows who stopped catching midges and flew away to find shelter. Steph and the twins ran as fast as they could back to Grandma's house. Steph was worried that the rain would catch them. "What about the animals?" asked Marion. "Where do they go when it rains?" Marian was right. There wasn't a single insect left by the pond. They had all disappeared. As the heavy raindrops fell and threatened to squash them, where had the creatures gone? The ones that lived in the pond were safe in the water, of course, but the others, the butterflies, midges, and ladybugs, where were they? They were hiding in the plants, taking shelter under a roof of green leaves. The butterflies had folded up their big wings to protect them from the falling raindrops. But some animals liked the rain. The snail had come out of his shell and was slowly climbing up a stem. The rain finally caught up with Steph and the children. As they hurried back past the farm, Luke and Marian looked for the animals. Some were happy outside in the rain, but others had disappeared. At the first drop, jump, the cat leapt back into the house. The pigs liked the rain. It turned the dry earth into sticky mud for them to play in. The ducks and geese were happy. The rain slid off their feathers like it does from an umbrella. But the ducklings didn't have proper feathers yet. They swam quickly towards plants to find shelter or hid under their mother's wings. The pony and cow huddled close to the hedge where the wind wasn't so strong. The farmer hadn't built a stable in their field. The poor spider's web was broken, but she hid under a leaf. The dog's coat got wet, but he didn't mind. He dried himself with a big shake and ran on. The bees flew back to their hive or hid under leaves. The sparrows and pigeons stayed dry under the leaves of the chestnut tree, but a birdhouse would have been even better. Rain made the donkey shiver. She headed towards her shed. The sheep had a thick woolly fleece to keep her dry and warm. The children loved the rain. On the way home, Marian said, "Look, there's a big puddle. Since we're already wet, why not play some more?" "Of course," said Steph, "but only for a few minutes." Marian and Luke splashed around happily. "Yippee, I'm a frog," said Luke. "Me too," said Marian. "I'm a frog playing football. Splish, splash!" They jumped around in the puddle under the warm rain. Grandma arrived with a big umbrella. She laughed when she saw them. "I'll find some dry clothes and make some hot chocolate. Don't be too long." It was still raining in the distance, but the sun was shining again. The birds were flying in the sky. They stopped to rest on a big thistle. They drank the rainwater that had collected between its leaves as if they were visiting a cafe. While the children drank their hot chocolate, Grandma hung out their wet clothes on the washing line. She ran back into the house shouting, "Come, quick, come and see the rainbow." The children looked at the rainbow in silence because it was so pretty. On their way back inside, Steph told the twins, "To see a rainbow, you need 2 things. First of all, it must be raining in the distance, but sunny at the same time. Then you have to turn your back to the sun and look towards the rain, like you're doing in my drawing." It was evening and the sky was starting to turn pink. Steph had finished putting the water plants and cleaning Snail in his fish tank. It was time for the twins to go home. Steph walked them back towards town. "Goodbye, Grandma," shouted the children. "Come back soon," she replied. The swallows had come back to catch their dinner in the sky. "Don't the grass and wheat smell lovely now?" said Steph. "Our street always smells of the town," said Marion. Soon, high up in their apartment block, Luke and Marion would have dinner with their parents. It had been a wonderful day.